Good day everyone. In this video I would like to talk about the JK BMS and the small 2.5 inches LCD display. Mostly I like to talk about the display. Earlier I posted a video to show that the LCD actually flicker or flashing when it gets to a certain age, and I have received a lot of notice about the failure of the LCD display. Typically the mean time between failure is about 1 year. So I like to investigate what's the cause of that. And if you take a look at the setup I have this LCD display and hook up to a JK BMS. This is a 300 amp JK BMS, and the display right now is in standby mode, and the power coming into the display is 11.18 volt, and the current is about 3.1 amp, and the current is very small, 3.1 milliamp. 3.1 milliamp. So the total wattage is about 35 milliwatt. The JK BMS has a voltage regulator to generate the 11 or 11.2 or 11 volt because the battery could be 12 volt or 24 volt, depends on the configuration, because this is a 4 series to 8 cells in series. So it has its own internal voltage regulator to provide the 12 volt to the display. And the display itself have two regulator, one to regulate from the supply voltage to a 5 volt voltage, and then from a 5 volt voltage it also had another regulator go from 5 to 3.3 volt. And so let's turn on the display and see what happened. So turn on the display. Okay, once I turn on the display, the current draw is 66.9 amp or 67 milliamp. It's milliamp. So the display draw a lot of current. Most of the current actually go to the display, and now the display is on standby, and it only takes 3 milliamp to power up the brain. So the brain is working, all the communication is working, except the LCD is turned off. So in order for me to turn it back on, I could push the button or draw a low on the BMS to start up the display again. So let me turn on the inverter. This is the inverter. I turn on the inverter, and the inverter would draw about 1.8 amp from the battery. Now the display come back on by itself because it's drawing 1.8 amp out of it. As you can see, the display is very bright. With the attenuation of the cover, it looks more natural this way, but without the cover, the display is very bright. So I did a series of current voltage measurement to find out how does this display work in terms of the supply voltage. So this is the supply voltage for the display, and this is the current in milliamps. This is milliamps, and as you can see, it takes about almost 8 volts before the display come on and drawing current, and it go all the way. I tested to 14 volts. I didn't want to go any higher because it will likely damage the display if I keep it higher. because of the LCD would not handle that kind of voltage. And you can see the current in the display. So at 7 volt, the display would not draw any more current. At 8 volt, it draws about 2.9 milliamp, and the display is very dim at that point. 9 volts, it looks normal, bright. 10 volt is slightly brighter, and the standard is 11 volt supply by the BMS is drawing 70 milliamps. So I have this set up right now. This is drawing 69 milliamp, and the display is very bright. And what I want to do is to put a current limiting resistor on the supply voltage. Right now, I shorted a 44 ohm resistor, actually a 222 ohm in series. So I shorted it to get the normal power supply voltage. And now let me open it up and let the display go to a lower voltage. And before I do that, I want you to look at the display, how bright it is. Now ready, I'm going to put a current limiting resistor in between. Okay, now the current limiting resistor is put in. I unshorted it, and as you can see, the current dropped to 35 milliamp from 68 milliamp. And why do I want to do that? The reason is the display control is on-off control. It only power on and off. It doesn't have any other control to it. So this display is taking the raw supply voltage. At least that's what I believe and investigated. And in order for the display to last a long time, that voltage is too high. And so you take a look at the current versus the intensity. The factory design is about 70 milliamp, and I put in a current limiting resistor and drop it to 30-ish amp. So that's a huge drop. And as you can see, the relative intensity went from about 80-90% to less than 50%. If you look at the life expectancy of the LCD display at full intensity, and it dropped to about 80-some% intensity, relative intensity, before it get to 1 year of life. So that's the point that we have seen a lot of LCD blackout. So if we drop the intensity, keep going drop the intensity, we could get to 7 years of life at that lower intensity. So the hope is to put in a current limiting resistor to reduce the current and reduce the intensity. It will extend the life from 1 year to 7 years. Unfortunately, I don't really have a failed LCD display to investigate what is the secondary failure or the primary failure. So until I get a failed LCD display, I will report back what I find out. But at this moment, what I wanted to do is to lower the intensity, hopefully lengthen the life of the LCD display. And once again, let me short the current limiting resistors, and you can see the current will jump back up from 35 milliamp back to 68 milliamp. Also, the voltage dropped to 10.9 volt. If I unshort the resistor, the voltage is only 9.5 volt and 35 milliamp. So hopefully this is a simple fix for those who have problem. Unfortunately, this will take many months and maybe years to find out how effective this is. Again, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.